My first name is Andres, last name is Alonso. I'm Chief Executive Officer of the Baltimore City Public Schools. It's tremendously important in a context where among other things, we have many overage, undercredited students. We did a study the first year that I got to the district that showed that at the high school, by the time the kids were getting to high school, nearly 40% of the kids were overage for their grade. So the work for us in the middle and in the high schools has become about acceleration. It's not enough to move a child 1 year at a time when we know that there's such a correlation between children becoming overage and they're dropping out of school. So we are thinking of technology in terms of expanding time. How do we get to a year and a half worth of content in a year? How do we deal with issues of attendance when so many kids, by the time they get to high school, have really lost the norm of being in school every single day? So at some level, we need to engage them so that even when they're home, they're participating in a learning exercise. So that is increasingly the work. We are looking at as well at replicating our best teachers or expanding the reach of our best teachers. We do collaborative planning in the district. So for at least one period a week, teachers plan lessons together. And technology is increasingly something that we're working with in order to take lead teachers in all the areas and expand their reach across the districts. And so much of the way in which we're thinking of curriculum is less about curriculum frames or central office experts, and more about finding the places in the schools where extraordinary people are reaching kids every single day and ensuring that everyone has a very clear sense that these things are possible, how these people do these things, and just learn from the people who are in the trenches. I'm always a little bit embarrassed about this leadership question, because somebody's great leadership asset is somebody's like recipe for destruction. Again, because so much is about context, and because so much is almost a kind of alchemy between person, place, time. I think a leader has to listen, but at the same time be very certain about certain things. And I struggle with communicating that, because I communicate a sense of confidence, and often it is misunderstood as just doing it my way, when the confidence is about authority and about pushing for the right things, but always within a frame where there's a possibility for change and for learning about what I might be missing. So, I think a funny combination of confidence and humility is very much essential to leadership. I think that the good leaders have to know what their essentials are. And they also have to leave margin for compromise. I think that there has to be a clear marker that is established very early on, so that a community learns who the leader is. And finally, there has to be like a huge element of luck in terms of what happens, so that the followers who need to become leaders get a sense of the possibility of something happening that might not have been possible if that person were not at the, at the wheel. If those things come together, good things happen. And the leader also, I think, has to be often still. When everything else is sort of spinning, somebody has to be still. All the time, the leader has to be the storm, because then everyone else will be still when there's a need for great motion. So, I mean, those are the things, I think I work in a very intuitive way within those frames. I work unbelievably hard. So, when people, I never want to be in a room and not be the most prepared person in the room. By now, because I've been doing this for such a long time, I don't need to prepare in the same way. I've seen many things, but it really bothers me if something emerges in the conversation and at some level I feel that I haven't prepared for it. So all those things matter. By far, however, and I'm not sure why I didn't say this, the most important thing is having good people around you. So there's an essential quality that is about being able to spot, attract, make very talented, dedicated people want to buy into a vision that they share. Not your vision, a vision that is shared. And I think that's by far the most important quality of all, because it can never be about one person, and once you leave the room, it's somebody else who has to do the work. So it's a combination of those things. And I've been lucky, by the way, because I have worked with I've learned from some pretty extraordinary people in my time. So my vision is for every parent to have a choice of a great school. A great school meaning a school where every classroom has a great teacher, and every child, no matter what their point of entry, is being served with love, with intelligence. It's that simple. Everything else is a means to that end. One key element of my vision is that people just have to be better at their jobs. I mean, I remember this exchange at a cabinet meeting very early at my arriving in Baltimore, where I think I'm a very simple person in terms of how I see the work. And I remember this person who still works for me, and very young, somebody I like, very talented, who at some point says to me, the problem is that I don't think the cabinet understands your vision. And at that point in the game, my response was, okay, I'll tell you what my vision is. I want everybody to do their job better. As in, if everybody does their job better, then by definition, the school system is going to get much better. As in, come on, let's have the numbers be right, Let's have the food be better in the cafeteria. Let's have the parents feel that when they show up in September, the schools are clean, the books are in classrooms. Those amazingly simple things add up to a functioning school system. Most school systems that are chronically underperforming have extraordinary performance gaps, and people talk about the achievement gap. They have operational gaps, and those operational gaps need to be closed so that the adults who are in front of the kids can concentrate on getting better at teaching the kids. So a lot of the vision is about the idea of like inspiring people to believe that that the kids can learn and that there are no excuses, et cetera, et cetera. But a lot of the work is simply about, as the manager of a huge business operation, to get that operation to function better. So it's this combination between the idea of the transformational leader, but I think we've sold short the notion of really good managerial leadership. So I think both things are necessary. Baltimore. They should all come to Baltimore, and we will do the right thing for them. Clearly, it's schools. If we don't fix our schools, we will be having the same conversations we've been having for the past 40 years for the next 40. It's pretty astonishing to me, as somebody who's gotten the best out of what this country has to offer, that for so many kids, what was so immediate and easy for me is so hard to get, which are environments that are going to in a way bring the best out of you. I mean, school for me was always, a kind of secret garden with almost every adult that I met along the way, sort of thinking, oh, okay, this kid has something, and ensuring that would be true. And for so many kids, for the overwhelming majority of kids, I don't think that's the case. And the structures of society are extraordinarily difficult to change, and schools are a reflection of the structures of society. So if we're not tackling how to change that reflection in the schools, then this greatest country on earth is always going to have some deep dark recesses that none of us want to venture into. So the work is in the schools. If the question is about leadership, the principalship is so important. It's the job that has the great span. A great principal is a leader in the community. It's an instructional coach. It's a guidance counselor to kids. It's a business manager. So, I encourage people to think of the principalship, which is a role that is changing as schools are getting more autonomy in more and more districts. It's a different job than what it was 10, 20 years ago. In school systems like mine, for example, have become places where there's an entrepreneurial spirit that a person that goes into education can run with. So what's intriguing for me, for example, is that, and one of the reasons why I think we've been successful in Baltimore, is that the person who headed New Leaders for New Schools was a former TFA person. The person who was developing charters, was a former TFA person. You looked around the room in any meeting of nonprofits, and you saw, oh, wait a second, there's something going on here, which is about kids coming out of college, trying education, many cases staying, but in many other cases, seeing different opportunities, but not abandoning a kind of allegiance to the schools.